Yeah, welcome in. Welcome back to another episode of Format Podcast Live. Yes. And today we are going to talk all things NBA. This is going to be a good one. I didn't even expect to be doing this show today like this, but I guess in light of recent events and everything that's going on, I definitely wanted to get on here and talk to y'all, man. But before we even get into any of that, let me introduce one of my OGs from back in the day in Brooklyn, New York, and diehard Knicks fan. Y'all probably tell. There you go, my main man, Khalees the Beast. What up, Khalees? What's going on, man?
What up, y'all? What up, world? Coming straight from Brooklyn.
No doubt. The reason he's on here, yo, as you can see, Transformers not here. He's kind of out of the loop right now, but especially with everything going on with this incredible Knicks Celtics series, I wanted to actually kind of get a better feeling for that, get boots on ground, so to speak, Timberland boots, if you know anything about Brooklyn. But
I think Tatum was about those Timberland boots.
What's up?
He wore those Timbs the other day.
There you go. So, I wanted to get somebody on here who could kind of give us the feeling, the sentiment of what's going on in New York and just, still talk some hoop, man. But we're going to go ahead and we're going to get into these topics. But first, you all know what it is. I'm going to get a spiel, then I'm going to come back. We're going to introduce the channel members and we're going to get it rocking. If you're watching here on YouTube, make sure you go ahead, click that subscribe, that like, that notification bell. Make sure you're kept up to date whenever we drop new content on the channel. If you want the audio-only version of the podcast, open up your audio podcast platform, hit the search bar, type in The Format Podcast. We should come right up. If you're enjoying the content, make sure you give us a like, leave us a 5-star review, and drop a comment. All that stuff helps us rise in the algorithm, helps us find more sports fans, helps more sports fans find us. Make sure you write it down, put it in your phone, make a note of it. The Format Podcast is live Sunday mornings at 10 a.m. Eastern. And finally, if you're really and truly enjoying the content we're delivering you, make sure you hit that join button. There's going to be exclusive content here just for you. All right. I see Mark with glasses in the chat talking greasy already. What's going on, Mark? We'll get to that. Let me shout out the channel members, of course. Number one channel member, first ever channel member, Laker Nation. What's going on, my man? Baltimore Bruce, what's good? It's not that serious. What's cracking? And of course, Chief Sid Bubba. Shout out to you. Shout out to the boys from Annapolis. Anchors away. All right. Let's get it going. So first thing I wanted to talk about, even before we get to the playoffs and all that's going on, we will get to that. As you know, if you're an NBA fan, you guys know that I'm part of the new TV deal that what is it, 76 bill, right, Ka?
Something like that.
Yeah, the $76 billion. I think it was 76 over 11 years that the NBA recently got. Part of that takes a huge chunk of the NBA broadcast rights back to NBC and Peacock. And I thought that was cool because for me, and I know me and Kyle, we're around the same age, I should say, we're around the same age. And so for me personally, like some of my fondest memories of the NBA were back in the 90s and early 2000s when the NBA was on NBC. And I thought that was just an incredible time, right? And so, I'm going to take y'all back real quick. This is something that, I love. So I'm going to take you all back real quick, and then I'm going to come back and we're going to talk about why this is a big deal.
You ready to rotate up?
So, man, I mean, I don't know about you, Kai. That puts a smile on my face and make me feel a certain way every time I watch that, man. Where are you on
that? A lot of nostalgia right there. Like, brings back great moments. Sundays, Saturdays, great moments. Also some heartbreak because, as you see, MJ's on there going back to NBC. And as a Knicks, he gave us a lot of heartbreaks.
That's a fact. He gave everybody a lot of heartbreaks, man. That's what he does. That's what he does. That's what he did, I should say. Yeah, he gave a lot of people a lot of heartbreaks. Yeah, Chief said, Bubba, I definitely have that ringtone on my phone. Yeah, I do. But I love that, man. And that was just such a great time for me. Obviously being, the Olajuwon fan that I am, watching them win 2 titles during those days. And quick side note, when we talk about the 94 championship, obviously that's the Knicks and the Rockets in the finals in 94. And then we have one of the most, I guess, culturally iconic moments, not necessarily for the best reasons, but we had, the OJ Bronco chase. Was that game 5, Kyle?
Crazy times.
Crazy times, right? We watching game 5,
in the middle of the
locking in on the game, and all of a sudden the game is tiny in the upper corner, and we see the rest of the screen is the chase, OJ and the Bronco. And was it my man AC driving the Bronco?
He driving
down the freeway.
Seemed like the longest drive ever.
Facts. They got the helicopters out there riding and everything, and you could barely see the game. But it's just crazy, man. It's just crazy. But I say all that to say, and the reason I bring that up, it was announced by NBC yesterday that Michael Jordan will be a special contributor to the NBA on NBC product. And I think, this is my opinion, I think it was a genius move by the NBA and by NBC to do this, right? Obviously, Michael Jordan, he's been an owner, and he's kind of been somewhat in the public eye, but not completely. Obviously, he was the most well-known and most popular athlete on the planet while he was playing. If we remember, the single highest rated NBA Finals game was Game 6 of the 98 Finals against the Jazz, peaked out at like 38 million viewers, right? I think was it 6 or 7 of the 10 highest rated NBA Finals on TV, Michael Jordan and the Chicago Bulls, right? There's no question that the NBA was, at the very least from a rating standpoint, far more popular back then than it is now. And so I think that this was a brilliant move for the following reason by the NBA and the NBC. And I want to get your thoughts on this, Kyle. I think that what it does is it does a smart thing, because a lot of the fans that are our age and maybe a little younger or a little older have gravitated away from the modern NBA game for a lot of reasons, right? You've heard me complain about it for a lot of reasons, but they've gravitated away from the modern game. But having the NBA back on NBC and then bringing a guy like Michael Jordan, who was the face of it for so long and arguably still is, that's going to hook guys like us and bring the nostalgia back and maybe pull them back to the game, man. What are your thoughts on that?
Definitely going to bridge the gap. And Jordan, what was that? Save the Last Dance? That did numbers.
Last Dance. Hell yeah.
I did a lot of numbers. So it shows that, the 30 plus, 35 plus crowd still has drawing power and should be definitely looked into, instead of only selling, I guess, to the younger folks that are on social media and book and the Instagram, TikTok crowd. So I think that's an incredible move. And we've been listening to Jordan forever since his Michael Jordan's Playground videos. He's always been well spoken, had us locked in and tuned in. I mean, I wasn't even a Jordan fan, and I played those videos, those 2 tapes over and over. What's the second tape? I was trying to think of the name.
Fly with me.
Come Fly With Me. I played those videos millions, thousands of times. Me and my friends sat down and watched that cassette tape. Yeah. So I think it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good media. Happy he's back. I was also happy when Isaiah Thomas came back, and that kind of pulled me in a little more because he still has a lot to say.
Yeah, so absolutely.
Interesting. I don't know if they're going to be interloping or anything like that in any way, but that's going to be something to watch as well. That's what I thought about when I saw him coming back to the media, to see how those 2 guys are going to be. And Magic's going to be throwing the mix as well, to see how all 3 of them are going to be covering games and stuff. So it should be interesting. Who else is on NBC? I know they got. Reggie
Miller's going to be on there. Carmelo's going to be, I think, doing in-studio analyst. Reggie Miller's going to be calling games. So I don't know if I heard C. Weber, but I know Reggie Miller. I know Carmelo. They're going to have some names. I think they're doing a good job putting together a solid team that hopefully will draw basketball fans. But I'll say this, to Bruce's point, what they probably need to do is make it a mix of those guys, but also some of the younger greats who just recently retired. Like if you could pull in a D Wade or a Dwight Howard or something like that, that, to your point, the younger fan base can resonate more with, and kind of, mix that in with the guys that speak to our age and our age group. Definitely.
And also, I hate to be cheesy, but maybe throw in one of those TikTok or social media guys just to have them there for, because sometimes that works. Maybe throw those guys in there. And what's
You
good with
know
Mark
me.
Jackson? Like, I don't know. I don't understand. It's like I got it on the coaching end, but I thought he did such a superb job on ESPN. And then they let
Agreed.
him go when they brought back Doc, who looks like he might join them next year, but without a job. So
Right.
I'm hoping they pull in Mark. That'd be a good look.
I think that'd be a real good look. Yeah, I like that. That's a good call. Absolutely. Let me respond to this. Bruce says in the chat, MJ being a contributor will be a huge mistake. It will fail miserably. Why? Well, but the question is why? Well, I know why he's saying it. He's a LeBron guy. That's why he's saying it. But that's not the case. And I truly believe that the NBA and NBC is inexorably linked with Michael Jordan, right? So bringing that back. And remember, Michael Jordan's not going to be calling games. He's not going to be in there, every night or every week. They say he's a special contributor. So I'm sure he'll pop up now and again, maybe have something to do. What I would do if I were them is probably put it in a position and maybe have him do a couple of, interviews with some of the modern players now and again, just to kind of pick their brain, or maybe do a segment, maybe like he's in the gym shooting around with these guys and he's talking to them like, hey, what would you do in this situation? Do stuff like that. I think that would.
We all want to hear that. I know everybody's saying the Tom Brady experiment didn't really go over so well, so maybe that's what he's alluding to. He might come off like Brady, but Brady's doing some real in-depth stuff. Like you said, I don't think Jordan's going to be doing that in-depth stuff. Or maybe he's thinking about how Jordan sometimes rubs people the wrong way, as you saw with Scottie Pippen and Horace Grant doing their Hate World tour or whatever. What was it? A Save the Last Dance?
That was crazy.
Yeah. So I don't know if that's the angle he was taking about it.
Right.
I'm trying to figure out what he was saying. I would love to get his thoughts on it if he can explain it more.
Yeah.
I don't think it's just that. All right, maybe.
No doubt. But no, I think that I love it. I love the idea of bringing that back. I think that like I was listening to Dreamers Pro Show. I don't know if you watched that. And the guy Charles on there, the host, he made a very good point in that it's going to be awesome because so much of the mainstream sports media, NBA media now is so heavily LeBron leaning. But now if you have Michael Jordan involved, you will have an opportunity to maybe hear some more of the other side, right? It'll force the other side. And maybe now you get more diverse voices in terms of, how they are presenting the game and what they're thinking about, et cetera, instead of just, darn near everybody, as they say, twerking it up for LeBron all the time. So that could be a good thing too.
I mean, as much as we talk about how much love LeBron gets, he also does still get a lot of hate because he still plays. So I don't know if that's 100% the case in terms of people, because there's a lot of young people that still pull for Michael Jordan. There are a lot of kids that still say that they mess with Jordan. Of course, I think it's more LeBron now at what you say, like the 18 to 24 range.
Man, I'd say more than that. I just probably 18 to 30.
A lot of these kids, they like KD. And I've seen a lot of kids liking your favorite, the Joker, as well. So, it just, I guess it depends on who you're speaking to.
Yo, you just said my favorite, son. Don't do that.
Listen, a man is 2-2 right now with no coach. He has to coach and he has to play ball right now. He's Bill Russell over here.
I knew you were gonna do it. I knew you was gonna. Don't do that, man. That's disrespectful. I knew you were gonna say that. Oh, that's funny. That's funny. Sid Bubba, that's a great idea, honestly. To bring Bob Costas, and maybe when Michael Jordan is doing his little segments or whatever, you bring Bob Costas, in to help to guide the segment and let Michael Jordan do his thing. But that actually is a very good idea. Bob Costas is a Hall of Fame sports journalist, and Mike is Mike. But if because if you ever notice, most of the player podcasts, they'll have like a journalist or somebody with them to kind of guide them and, ask the questions, conduct the interviews and whatnot, while the player is giving, the player part of it all. So that actually might be a really good idea. Ahmad Rashad, that's another good one. Yeah, absolutely.
At least,
I haven't seen Ahmad Rashad in years.
Have to maybe take it the whole journey, but at least, first 3 to 5 years would be really dope.
Yeah.
Bruce, what rapper used that beat? I was trying to remember the NBA. Remember somebody
NBA on it? Oh, we used to listen to that back in the day. It was
the Cam. I don't know.
No, it was
I should have. If we had a little bit more prepping time, I would have. Let me see.
Yeah, man. I know what you're talking about too, but it slipped. I think it was Joe Budden, right?
I think it might have been Joe Buttons.
I think it was Joe Budden who did it.
If anybody in the comments, if y'all know what rapper rhymed over that NBC.
Yeah. I think it was Joe Budden. You know what? Give me a second. Let's do this. I'm gonna look it up real quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was Joe Budden. What rapper rapped over the NBA on NBC theme song? Let's see if we can find that with AI. I thought it was Joe Budden. It was one of those guys. Because I think we heard it on like a clue tape. There we go. Yo.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's up. All right.
NFL. Something about with the NFL. I can't remember exactly what it was, but neither here or there. But that was
right.
I thought about when I heard the theme music coming in.
Yeah. It made a tough beat though.
Definitely did.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, well, let's do this, y'all. Let's do this. I'm gonna open the lines up real quick. I'm gonna take 2 quick calls on this. Definitely want to hear some thoughts. I know we got some people in the chat. Somebody, at least one person who dislikes Michael Jordan. So, and does not want to see him, on NBA on NBC. So let's see what we got, man. Y'all know the number, 904-219-8264, 904-219-8264. Let's go.
Jordan doing a LeBron game opening night.
And I was about to say, like, if I were Jordan, I would avoid that because you don't ever want to be put in a position where they're gonna say, "Oh, you just hating on Bron," because you know that's what they will say. Because I can tell you, look, we see it in the chat. They're mad already that Mike is doing this. But think about it. Would they be mad if it was LeBron doing this after he retired? They would be happy. They want to hear their glorious king, right?
Well, maybe Jordan is more strategic and he gives him his flowers. He takes the high road.
Maybe so. I mean, Larry Bird speaks glowingly of LeBron, so
that's true.
But one thing about Larry Bird, though, honestly, for a dude who like is so basketball intelligent, I don't believe he believes the stuff that he says about LeBron. And the reason why is because, remember, he still works in the front office, so he can't be out here dogging modern players. So I think he's got to say what he's got to say, to ensure that Indiana doesn't become some hated place and he doesn't become some pariah that nobody wants to come play for. You know what I mean?
I can see that, but he seems like a straight shooter. So he
seems that way.
Yeah, he always seemed like a straight shooter.
Yeah. Chief said, Bubba, what's going on, man?
Yo, what up, Bruce?
What's going on, brother?
What up, Kai?
Hey, what's going on?
Not much. I think it's a great idea to have MJ back to get that perspective. And it's also going to make great rating competition because Barkley is with ESPN and Shaq and those guys versus NBC.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
I think you got a great point there, Chief. That I didn't even think about from that perspective. I was just so wrapped up in the nostalgia of, NBA on NBC, and then, they bring in Michael Jordan here and there, like, and especially I think if you're smart, if you do it in a way that people don't know when he's going to be on there, so they will be tuning in regularly, hoping that he'll pop up.
That would make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think that's a great idea though. But I think now it's going to be a pickup between the networks. So now ESPN is going to try to step their game up with Barkley and Kenny Smith and all those guys, or Michael's over there. And then it's also, I think this is LeBron's last year.
It better be.
Because you got to think of it this way. He already did the points, so all he needs now is a couple more games, and he can pass the OG Chief, Robert Parrish, and he didn't probably broke every record book. So, but I don't see it would be if LeBron or any of those other players beat, because usually most of the old guys are really respectful. Problem is the younger people being disrespectful. So most of the older guys will give them their credit, but sometimes honest criticism is honest, constructive criticism. The key word being constructive, so these guys can develop and be better players.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's a good idea.
Yeah, I like it a lot, man. I like it a lot. I'm just, anxious to see what is it? Special contributor. What does that mean? What does that encompass? So I guess we'll just have to wait until fall, right, to find out.
Oh yeah, yeah. And then I'm wondering what my boy Rich Paul gonna have.
Man, don't even get me started on Rich Paul. You already know.
So this could get a little
lined up with Amazon.
What's up?
Yeah.
Probably have something lined up with Amazon.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
So I can see.
No doubt.
Big coming. So the NBA is gonna be good. Now what's also gotten a lot better, like with the playoffs, the physical players starting to come back.
Mm-hmm.
And the competition, it seemed like, it's coming back. So
Yeah.
Expect the big things from the NBA.
Well, that's provided they allow these guys to continue to play in the regular season. But we'll find out. But thanks for the call, Chief. I appreciate you, man. All right,
No
brother.
problem. All right,
later. Another good call from Chief. Yeah, I like that. All right. I guess we don't have any more calls on this, so we can go right to the next topic. All right. All right, here we go. This is what I brought you here for, Kai. This is one of the reasons I brought you here, man.
Go New York, go New York, go. By the way, I think that song is a little outdated, and I don't know.
Whose song is that?
Huh?
Whose song is that?
I don't know. It's a group of Caucasian gentlemen that used to rap. I don't know. I think with all the heavy hitters and the good rappers and entertainers we have in New York, I think we switch that up. Remember when the Locks did that freestyle at the Garden? I don't know if you remember. Something like that. We gotta get a different theme song for times like this when we're one game away from the Eastern Conference Finals.
When was the last time the Knicks were in the Eastern Conference Finals? 2010? Was that it?
Was it 2010? Yeah, I think it might have been with Woody. Was it during the Knicks tape era?
I know Melo never made an Eastern Conference Finals, so I'm not sure.
So you saying then? So now we talking about?
Yeah, that's weird. I don't know.
Let's see.
Yeah, I don't know who it was. But while you look that up,
Pacers 1 year, and
25 years. Oh, yeah, 2000. That was the last time. Wow. Right, when the Knicks played the Spurs in the finals.
That's
Jeez.
Great.
That is. Do you hear that?
Yeah, is that me?
I don't know. Let me see. Might be. Okay, I think
we got all types of speakers and stuff back here, but I didn't.
Yeah, that's weird. I feel like I got getting a lot of feedback from you. All right, let's see. All right, so let's do this, y'all. So that's weird. Okay.
Is it coming?
All right, but
let me reset it and I'll come back in.
All right, bet. Do that, and then we'll continue. Opinion stated was good, bro. Was good. Good to see you. Good to see you, man. We are talking some NBA basketball right here, man. I got one of my brothers from New York City, from Brooklyn, BKNY. He's on here with me. Well, he'll be right back, but he's on here for the express purpose of giving us that boots on ground feeling, telling us what's going on, telling us what he's feeling, what he thinks. We've already had some, I know, man, that Tatum thing was tough, bro, but we'll get to that. But yeah, we're definitely talking about what's going on with the Knicks and what's happening in Jalen Brunson and the incredible freaking series that he's having, and just what he's doing is amazing. But so yeah, we can digress a little bit while we wait for my man Kai to get back. But oh man, yeah, this this Knicks Celtics thing, this is crazy, and I guess there's layers to this. So we'll get kind of into some of those layers, but just watching what's happening, just before we even get into this thing, what we are seeing, is he the best point guard in the league? Is he better than Cade Cunningham? I mean, yeah, he beat him in the last round, but is he better? I say he's a better clutch player, yes, but is he better overall? I don't know. I mean, listen, I'm not mad at anybody who says that Jalen Brunson is the best point guard in the league, but I don't know if I would put him over Cade Cunningham. Halliburton? I don't know. Yeah, I think it is you.
Let me change my spot.
I bet.
You got to throw it.
But yeah, but Halliburton, nah, I don't agree with you on that, Chief Slip Bubba. Halliburton is good. I don't think he's the best point guard in the league, though. But yeah, so when we're dealing with this, when we're dealing with this Knicks piece, man, this series obviously, I don't think anybody expected to be where it was right now. If we were looking at a 3-1 advantage, we probably would have been looking at a 3-1 advantage in favor of the champs, right? The Boston Celtics. But the Knicks, obviously, they stole the first 2 games in Boston, right? And if we're real, they stole the games. A lot of people, maybe Knicks fans, might say they took them, but I think that the Celtics gave it to them, right? And so if we're looking at this, like, here's the crazy stat. If the Celtics in the first 2 games had hit 2 more 3-pointers, 2 more, they would have gone into last night with a 3-0 lead. And when you're doing that, now you have a totally different mindset, a totally different situation. But the Celtics go into New York down 0-2, and they have to, I think he's frozen. They go into New York down 0-2, and they have to, have one of the great Celtics games and play the way they play as champions. And they get a blowout in what's this, game 3, right? They get the blowout in game 3. They were up by more than 30 points in that game. Then they come back for game 4, and the Knicks, man, did the Knicks play? Yes, they did. Opinion Status says Jalen Brunson, and we can't be prisoners of the moment here, but he says Jalen Brunson is better overall than Halliburton, Kyrie, Cade Cunningham, Darius Garland, Trey, Curry, Harden, etc. That is a really tough comment, man. I don't know. I think that you probably have some recency bias going on there, but he's a heck of a player. There's no question about it. And maybe with the value that we place on clutch time play and how big he is down the stretch in these games, that's helping to elevate how we look at him, right? All right. Opinion Stage said Knicks aren't afraid of, nor do they respect Boston. They show no fear. That's how they stay resilient, fought back in the first 2 games. Yeah, so we can look at it that way, Opinion Stated, and I'm not saying there's no truth to that, but I truly believe, and I could be biased here as a Celtics fan, but I'm trying to be objective. I truly believe that the Celtics gave those 2 games away. The Celtics would have won the first 2 games if they'd have just hit 2 more 3-pointers. They didn't have to be hot. They didn't have to play great. 2 more 3-pointers. So it's my opinion that they gave those games away. Now, did the Knicks have to hang around and show toughness and mental grit and all those things to win those games? Absolutely. Then they came out when the Celtics played how the Celtics play, and they got blown out in game 3. But they bounced right back in game 4. So a lot of credit due to the Knicks for that. And, but at the end of the day, we got what we got. All right, I've been talking. Khalees, man, let me hear your thoughts. First, man, what's the feelings in New York City and BKNY and in the rest of the boroughs right now in terms of where the Knicks are and how close they are to their first Eastern Conference Finals in 25 years?
Well, you got types of fans, right? Got your, you can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Awesome. You got your fans like me. I'm a little pessimistic.
Right.
But then you got the other fans. I think we're going to win the championship. So, that's really the feel. But then you also have the third layer, the Brooklyn Net fans that's now jumping back over here. And I was like, wasn't you in black and white just last year or 2 years ago? Now
Right.
Orange and blue. So, that's how the city's feeling, though. And being that it's a New York team, you definitely do have all 5 boroughs in the surrounding areas, Yonkers, Long Island. So very happy, up in arms. Even at my job. And the dope thing about the Knicks is it encompasses all ethnicities and race. It's just a good vibe, a good feeling. So everybody right now is definitely, and they're letting us get away with a lot of stuff. I don't know if you saw the whole 7th Ave was on lockdown yesterday. So 'This is pandemonium. But I'm a little bit more in shock because I'm still what I saw in game 1 and 2. I know you guys did some live viewings. I'm sorry I missed that. I was in the bar. I really would like to sit down with you guys and watch that game. But I'm still in shock. I still can't believe we won game 1 and 2. This is the first game I feel like we won.
Right. Agreed.
And I think it was definitely the Knicks pulling that out. And also, I think the Celtics more than the Celtics losing it, because the Knicks, that's the most points we scored against the Celtics. Normally, it's a low-scoring affair, but this was the first time we actually used our whole roster. I mean, we have a very expensive roster. We have some really good two-way players, OG, Bridges, and Cat. And Cat's not a two-way player, but we have those players there. So instead of us doing the Allen Iverson, what I call it, the four corners, I just sits back and watches Brunson, which we did against the Pistons and which we did the first couple of games against the Celtics. We actually posting up Cat on Peyton Pritchard. I'm like, yeah, why didn't we always do this?
Mouse in the house.
Bridges go up against White. White is a good defender, but Bridges got him by a couple of inches. So let's see what we got there. Instead of us going JB against Drew Holiday, which we know is one of the better defenders in maybe NBA history. So it was good to coaching does matter. And sometimes Tib and Joe, they both get a lot of flack. So I know Tibbs is normally a defensive guy, and a lot of people think that's them play like pretty much street ball on offense. I was hearing Teague said that the other day. He kind of rolls the ball out and lets them. It's like the opposite of a Mike D'Antoni. Mike D'Antoni's the guy that runs sophisticated offenses and defense. He goes, just get a stop when you can, or don't play defense at all. Don't waste your energy.
Right.
Tibbs like almost like the complete opposite, where he's focusing all on defense. And offense suffers. But last night I was seeing some screens mid-range for Bridges. We seen some post-ups for Cat. OG was going off because he was getting the right spacing, which allowed Brunson to now go one-on-one as opposed to going 1-on-3 and 1-on-4. And he was able to go blow for blow with Tatum, who went off. Like, it was nothing we could do with Tatum last night. So I was scared to see that because I knew it was coming because he didn't really have a good series yet.
Right.
So I knew it was coming. I knew him and Brown was eventually going to break out. I think Brown, being that they're definitely missing Tatum, but I think he was going to come out of the show sooner or later anyway. So now we're going to see why this guy got paid that money. I think Brown's going to step up. I think the Celtics get one more game, but I think the Knicks are going to close it out in 6.
So it's funny. I had chosen the Celtics to win this series in 6, and Transformer, I believe, was saying Knicks in 6 from the beginning. So it's funny.
I didn't see it.
Yeah. Needless to say, I didn't see it either. Not just because I'm a Celtics fan, but because they're the champions, and I felt like when they're playing the way they're supposed to be playing, there's nothing you could do with them. I think a big part of it too, you're not getting any real contribution from Porzingis, because I think when he's going, that team is super, super tough to beat.
That team is super tough. Like even him just being maybe 1/4 himself. He's still affecting the boards. He still changing shots last night, I saw. So he's still a beast. He's still giving you spacing because you got to respect him from 3-point line. So even him at like 25% of what's going on with him, by the way? I mean, all types of rumors. And
he had some illness earlier that is not injury, but illness that he's taking time to get back from. I don't know exactly what the deal was. I don't know.
I guess we'll hear about it after we close y'all out after Friday. So
was that necessary though? Was that necessary?
I haven't felt this good in a while, man. And the best thing about yesterday's game also was we were taking it to the Celtics hopefully it's not an ACL, but pre-major injury scare.
Oh yeah.
So I feel good because a lot of times you be like, I don't want to win that way, but before that, I saw the Knicks really was putting the pressure on them and feel like they was about to put the nail in the coffin. We don't know what would happen but I feel like we had that win in the bag.
So I'll say this. This is funny. If I'm the Celtics, right? Everywhere that my players go inside the building, because game 5 is in Boston. So they're gonna have practice and stuff, treatment, all that. Everywhere they go in the building, you know what they're gonna see? They're gonna see that Rudy Tomjanovich clip from '95. Never underestimate the heart of a champion. They're going to see it everywhere on a loop. They're going to go to sleep. They're going to hear it in their brain. They're going to wake up. They're going to hear it. Like, these guys need to know, like, yo, y'all are the champs. Y'all are the champs for a reason. And really, if I'm Missoula too, I get with Jaylen Brown. I say, listen, man, it's obviously it's no disrespect to your partner, but he can't go. He gave us everything. Now it's time for you to be that MVP that you were both in the Eastern Conference Finals last year and in the NBA Finals. You show them why you're a $300 million guy. You show them why you have earned what you have earned, right? You show them why they were wrong for leaving you off the Olympic team. I get at this point, right? We know what type of players the Celtics are. We know how they can play when they are in the groove, but now is the point where you got to pull the psychological levers if you're a head coach, right? If you're Missoula. Like, this is where Phil Jackson, who I don't believe at all was the best X's and O's coach, would have found a way because he knew how to pull the psychological levers. And I think sometimes, as we know, when it comes to athletics, that's just as important as being able to draw up the right play. Now,
Sam out for the whole series?
Say again?
Is Sam out for the whole series? The backup forward is Sam Hauser.
Oh, Sam Hauser. I haven't really seen him play. I think he played a little bit earlier. Excuse me. I don't know why he didn't get burned. I was about to talk about that. I don't know why he didn't get burned.
That's somebody that they may have to tap into. They had the first round draft pick also from Creighton. I can't think of his name right now.
Oh yeah.
So
right.
That's another guy they wasted a first round on him. I don't think he's ready, but these are guys that also gonna have to get plugged into the mix. Peyton Pritchard, we don't have an answer for him, so I know he could easily head us up to 25 to 30.
Right.
So it's not completely over. And as a Knicks fan, I saw some crazy stuff in my life. So I saw a man score points in 8 seconds.
Right. So let me ask you this, Ka. Would you rather close it out in Boston, or you rather close it out in MSG if you can on
the reason I want to close it out in Boston is because injury. We have some injury-prone players in OG and Cat.
Okay.
And what happened to us last year with I feel like we could have closed out the Pacers and we did it. And we had injury, so get it over with as soon as possible. We travel. I don't know if you know this, but there's been a lot of Knicks fans in our Boston Garden. They look at that hotel price and those ticket prices, and they say, "Hey, that's 1/4 of what we play in the Garden."
Right.
So we're traveling, so
no doubt.
Be a few fans to cheer us on. Hopefully, they don't get strikes with the locals. But
yeah, did you see that after the last game in Boston? They was out there getting into the fisticuffs outside TD Bank North Garden. Yeah.
These sports fans are passionate. I mean, I know we don't got nothing on the football fans overseas, but
right.
Boston, Philly, New York.
Yeah.
I mean, Chicago, we got some tough. I don't know, man. I love sports. I like to talk, but once you get into being disrespectful, I don't even know why people get involved in all that. We need to cut that out for real.
Yeah, for real. Like, seriously? Yeah.
And Boston PD gets paid a lot of money. They're some of the top paid cops in the country, so hopefully they're out.
Are they?
Yes. Hopefully they're out full effect. Because they're going to need it if we close them out, which, like I said, I think Boston gets this one, and I think we win it at the Garden, but I'm hoping that we can close it out now because we need a rest. Because probably the Cavs get another one, I'm figuring. Because
man,
he's been rolling, but I think the Cavs will probably squeeze out one more. Hopefully.
You think so?
Yeah, why not? I mean, they've been. I mean, I know everybody's calling them the Atlanta Hawks of. I can't remember.
That's a good analogy. Yeah.
Everybody's calling them that Hawk team.
Yeah.
But I think they can squeeze out one more because they don't really play defense in Indy, so all it takes is the Cavs to get hot one game and they can close them out.
Yeah, that's fair enough. All right. So let's go ahead. Let's open the phone lines up, man. Let's take a couple calls on this because I don't want to talk about it anymore. Let's take a couple phone calls.
The Celtics, they 4-0'd us this past season?
During the regular season, yep.
And then some of the games weren't even close.
Nope.
Close. The first 2 games wasn't even close. I'm still in shock. Like I'm really in shock, man.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, definitely disappointing if you're a Celtics fan. Definitely disappointing if you are a Celtic. You did not expect this at all. And then, you have the psychological piece of your big gun, your number one gun, going down, presumably for the remainder of the postseason and possibly, going forward. So it's definitely going to be a tough spot. So yeah, a lot
of people saying like they're literally maybe playing their last games together because I don't know if the new owners are cheap. This is what I don't get.
I heard that.
why are you selling to cheap owners? Like, this is so whack. I know the Amazon guy wants to own a team.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what's the dude's name.
Bezos.
Yeah, but another rich guy. Why are we not selling at the highest bidder?
Well, I mean, maybe that was the highest bidder. What'd they get? Like $6.2 billion for that Celtics? That's so far that's the highest value, the highest that a team has ever sold for in the United States. So, you know.
Because we also have the Dallas Mavericks owner who seemed like he didn't want to pay Luka. And now we're hearing rumors about the Celtics and how then they might break them up. Because, those comments don't come from nowhere.
Nah. Somebody said it.
Yeah, somebody said it from ownership. They know, like, yo, when are y'all getting moved?
But it's crazy though, right? Because you got, what is that? Just between two guys alone, you got 305 and 315. So what's that? $620 million payroll between two players. And then you got the rest of these guys. So it's like, all right, cool. These guys are getting paid. But my thing is, if you field an outstanding team and you make deep playoff runs, do you know how much money that is?
Right.
For every home playoff game, you know what I'm saying, merch and concessions and parking, all that. It's a lot of money these owners are making. So I never got why they act cheap when it comes to paying these players, because when you field a good competitive team, you're going to make a lot more dough down the line.
And you just never know what's happening. Some people get cocky and be like, oh, we might not do it this year. So wait. And the next thing you know, it might be 10, 20 years till you become a fielded team that's good. So, they're not even, some of them not even in their prime yet. So, I mean, I don't, in my head, before the pre-injury, I was like, we're going to have to see the Celtics here. Maybe they might be able to three-peat.
Right. Yeah, no, you're right. And Chief, man, I'm not trying to hear you on that, man.
Or it's like, why buy the team? Why buy one of the best franchises in sports, not just the NBA?
Right.
Going to go all the way, man.
I don't know.
Do they also own the Bruins or separate?
No, I don't think it's the same ownership group. Nah. I don't think it's the same ownership group. All right. So let's go. By the way, if y'all hear the dog barking, man, pardon me on that. I don't know why Caesar act up every time I want to do a show, but it is what it is. Okay, so let's get on to, I guess, the second part of this Celtics and Knicks series. Arguably one of the worst parts of it. Again, not because I'm a fan, but because you hate to see great competition in athletics decided or having injury play a major role, right? So we saw Jason Tatum go down last night with what appeared to be an Achilles injury. And we know that's one of the toughest injuries to return from in sports. Normally takes about 2 years to really get back to kind of that peak level that you were at before. I will say, glad for the young man that he was able to get his Supermax deal before this past season started. So at least, he didn't miss out on that as a result of injury. So cool there. But yeah, we saw Tatum go down, and he was in agony, like spinning around on the floor. He had to get carried off, couldn't put weight on it. And side note, it's so interesting how injuries affect different people in different ways, how it happens, what happens, how much pain people are able to handle. Like, for instance, we always talk about how Kobe was able to, when his Achilles popped, he was able to go to the line, walk up there, shoot the free throws. I think Kyrie did the same thing. And if you want to check it out, I'm not going to get into it now, but just look it up. Former Lakers trainer Gary Vitti told a crazy story about Kobe when he popped his Achilles and everything that he was trying to do to be able to finish playing in that game. And the trainer was like, no. So yeah, go check that story out. Yeah, so let's go ahead, and I actually got some footage here from a doctor. I think he's an orthopedist, and he's going to talk about, I'm sorry, I forgot to upload it. So I'll get that for you in a second. But yeah, we saw Tatum go down, and this is, I think, to me, the worst part of it is especially that when you look at the fact that Tatum was, putting in work prior to that injury. I think he had 42 and 10 at the time. And like Kyle was saying, that was kind of that breakout game that we had been waiting for from Jason Tatum to happen during this series. He hadn't shot particularly well, but this time, again, he had 42 points into the fourth quarter and was playing really well, making big shots, kind of dueling Jalen Brunson down the stretch. So just really playing well overall and playing great actually overall. And we've seen Tatum have these type of games in the playoffs before. I think we saw him have 50 or 53 to eliminate Philly a couple of years ago. We saw him, I think the first year that the Celtics went to the finals, have a 46-point winner go home in Milwaukee against Giannis. So we know that Tatum has these type of games in him. I think for me, one of the difficulties I have with Tatum while we wait for the video to load is that a lot of times because he can shoot it and because he's got that game, he bails the defense out a lot by not being aggressive and attacking the rim. And that's frustrating to me because he's a guy he's strong, he's physical, he's got all the tools, but why he, so often chooses to just shoot a step back three or a fadeaway jump shot, it kills me. I think it's lazy, and I don't like it at all. But we got what we got, and everybody's got their game. So, Ka, tell me, what were your thoughts when you saw Tatum go down? And then we'll watch the medical breakdown on that.
It was tough to see because you already knew, those non-contact injuries normally doesn't fare very well. Actually, one of my good friends, funny story, he's playing pickup, and I kept on telling this dude to crash the boards, because we owe those shots as much. So he ran, went to jump to crash the boards. He finally listened to me, and he couldn't. He said, "Yo, who kicked me in the back of my leg?" And he couldn't get up. And that's the first thing I thought about when I saw this injury. Although Tatum was in fluid motion, you kind of saw like it was nothing that really caused him to be in that much agony and pain. So I was like, damn, what was up? And Tatum's a good dude. He does a lot for the community. He's not one of those mouthy players. He takes quality care of his body. He's a good spokesman in the game. So the first thing I thought about is, damn, I hope we're not losing one of our better spokesmen and one of the better players in the NBA.
Yeah.
I thought about the excuses if the Knicks win it. Did they deserve to win? Tatum's going off. He figured out a way. He solved the Knicks problem. He's going to go off for the next couple of games, and the Celtics are going to win. That's why the Knicks won this series. Those are my second thoughts. It was like, damn. Now all the Celtic fans and the rest of the NBA fans are going to say, oh, the Knicks won because Tatum wasn't there. So that's what that was my second thought when that happened. And then my third thought was he's going to miss all the next season.
Yeah, that's the tough part. Yeah. It's not even like he can just kind of recover from this, come back next season and go for it. He's going to have to deal with the injuries the rehab from the injury that follows, which to your point will keep him out most of next season. And then even when he gets back, probably not going to be anywhere near the same. So he'll need that time plus the following summer to get back the following year to hopefully being the Tatum that, we've seen when he can be at his best. So yeah, that's tough, man.
Definitely, and then they invest so much money in them, and then with this new first apron crap, all for the Celtics to make any moves. So,
well, let me say this: as you brought up the aprons and all that, right? We know who we can blame for that, LeBron. So if he installed all this super team crap, then the owners wouldn't have had to go hard and put all this stuff in place and make the luxury tax way more punitive. So
I don't think that was the reason. I thought it was more.
That was the reason.
I thought it was because it doesn't really make sense. Because to me, this thing hurts teams like, let's say, the Warriors or the Spurs or the Oklahoma City Thunder, who draft well and now can't keep their players, which to me is like ridiculous. So because I'm getting punished because I know how to draft and I know how to build a team with chemistry, and now I can't keep all my players.
Well. So are you getting punished though? Think about it. We hear it all the time, this business of, oh, the owners can't do it. Like, especially in football, we hear it because their salary cap, they got a hard cap, and it's so tough to allegedly, make it work, right? So there's a guy, Andrew Brent. He used to be GM of the Packers, and he does some media interviews and stuff now, and I think he writes a Substack. So anyway, he was on The Odd Couple with Rob Parker and Chris Broussard a number of times, And now he's a former Packers GM, and he's on the record saying, yo, when people say they can't pay because of the salary cap, it's BS. It's how you manage the salary cap and whether the owners want to pay more money up front, right? Because remember, when you put money in bonuses, it doesn't count against your cap. But when you put the money in bonuses, you have to put the money in escrow to make sure that the money is there to pay out the bonus. So at the end of the day, is that the owners just don't want to pay that money out. So they would rather say, oh, I'm sorry, we can't do it. We can't do it because they don't want to do what it takes to make the cap work. But if you have
for the NFL versus the NBA,
say again,
isn't that more for the NFL than the NBA?
Yeah. I was referencing the NFL, yes. But what I'm saying is these owners, they can make it work if they want to, man. Think about all these smart business people from all these business schools they got working in their front offices and whatnot. And you tell me they can't figure out a way to make the cap work? Come on, man. The owners, they just don't want to do it.
And also, normally what happens in contract situations is the fan base on the ownership side as well. Because it's naturally, people are like haters. So they're like, their players are being greedy. And the owners leak a couple of things to the media. And now the fans are like, oh, you're just being greedy. So that's also one of the really going to get the love from the fans. So.
But that's a whole different topic we can do another day. But getting back to Tatum in terms of the injury and the medical breakdown, let's go ahead and I'm going to show this video here with this guy. He's a doctor. I think he's an orthopedist, and he's on Twitter a lot, and he's got a YouTube channel, and he does that to kind of talk sports injuries and how it will affect people, etc. So I got a clip from him specifically referencing what happened to Jason Tatum last night. So let's take a look.
We don't see a view to where we can actually really look specifically and see that recoil of the gastrocnemius muscle that we often will see with an Achilles rupture. But the mechanism of how he pushes off, this is going to be an Achilles tendon injury until proven otherwise. Here, as Tatum is going after this loose ball, keep an eye on his right leg because it's the right leg that we're going to be worried about. And in this position, we see beforehand, he steps backwards. So right there, he steps that.
I'm sorry, guys. Were you able to hear that? Were you hearing anything when the video was playing? Were you able to hear that? The video? Whoa! Can you hear me, please?
Okay.
Okay. Were you able to hear the video when it was playing?
I'll respond in the chat.
All right. Cool. All right. I'm gonna go ahead and start that over. My bad, y'all.
We don't see a view to where we can actually really look specifically and see that recoil of the gastrocnemius muscle that we often will see with an Achilles rupture. But the mechanism of how he pushes off, this is going to be an Achilles tendon injury until proven otherwise. Here, as Tatum is going after this loose ball, keep an eye on his right leg because it's the right leg that we're going to be worried about. And in this position, we see beforehand, he steps backwards. So right there, he steps that right leg backwards behind him. And that is going to put his ankle into dorsiflexion, meaning his toes are pointed upwards towards the tibia. And similar to what we saw with Damian Lillard, that puts an eccentric load on the Achilles. That puts this stretch. The tendon, the Achilles gastroc complex is lengthening because of that dorsiflexion pulling the foot up, moves the calcaneus down, stretches the Achilles tendon, and then as he goes to push, you get this sudden contraction with an eccentrically loaded tendon, and that is going to put it at risk of failure. And in this case, I'd be concerned about the Achilles. Same thing that we're seeing in this view from above. We pay attention to that right leg. Tatum steps backwards here, right there. He's going into that dorsiflexion that puts his stress on the Achilles tendon. And then as he goes to explode and push off, we see him go down and then immediately start grabbing at that portion of his ankle right near the Achilles. As he's down then, of course, right away, we saw him grabbing at that area. Again, if this were something more mild, like a calf strain, like a muscle injury, we would expect him to see the grab up here more at the gastrocnemius, but the fact that he's grabbing at that Achilles, we saw that eccentric load with that dorsiflexed ankle position. I am absolutely concerned about an unfortunate Achilles tendon rupture. Let's talk briefly with our biodigital anatomy tool here just to again understand what makes up the Achilles. We're going to have the muscle contribution from the medial and lateral heads of the gastrocnemius. That's what makes up the primary bulk of your calf muscle. Deep to that, you're going to have the soleus muscle, and then you're also going to have a really thin muscle called the plantaris. Those all come together, form the Achilles tendon, and then the Achilles tendon is, of course, going to go down and insert on the back of the calcaneus, the heel bone. That dorsiflexed position, the ankle is pointed up in this direction, so that's going to put tension on the Achilles, put tension on the calf, and then as he forcibly pushes off, you get additional load going through Achilles. And most of the time, whenever you have one of these injuries, it's going to be right down here in this mid portion of the Achilles tendon. That tends to be the weaker spot. There's not as ideal of blood flow. We call this like a watershed area. And so most likely mid portion Achilles tendon rupture is going to be the area of concern. Now remember, with these types of injuries, there's something called the Thompson test, where back in the locker room, they're going to put him down prone on his stomach. They're going to have him bend his knee up to 90 degrees. They're going to squeeze his calf muscle. And if you don't see any movement in the ankle, that's a positive Thompson test. That's very highly suggestive of an Achilles tendon rupture. They very well could have ultrasound there in the locker room to also put an ultrasound probe down and look at this. So I'm recording this now. The game is nearly completed. I can almost guarantee the medical staff knows if he's had an Achilles rupture, so we'll probably be hearing something probably in the minutes to come. If we don't hear anything immediately tonight, that's a good sign. But again, concern, of course, is for an Achilles.
All right, so really good breakdown there from really good breakdown there from Dr. S on this. And yeah, he had some good stuff to say. I like how he showed us the diagram and everything. He showed us, exactly where the movement took place that would lead him to believe that the issue is with the Achilles. So I guess at this point, we're holding on and we're hoping that it wasn't an Achilles. And it's not even so much about the Celtics or, trying to extend this. It's none of that. It's about you don't want to see a player of Tatum's caliber go out like that, right? You hope, even if he's out for the rest of the playoff season or the series, whatever, fine. But you don't want to see him have to, get the surgery, miss most of next year, try to work his way back and not be back until the following year at his peak level. So you want him to be the best that he can be. You don't want that situation. What's going on, Kareem Duncombe? What's going on, brother? How you doing, man? Yeah, so you don't want that for Tatum. And again, it's not about being a Celtics fan or anything like that. You just don't want to see a player of that caliber, any player, go out that way. So yeah. But Khalid, I definitely feel you on the whole some Celtics fan making excuses about, oh, he lost because I'm not doing that. Celtics lost because they didn't play well enough. I mean, that's really what it is. And this wasn't even one of those where you had a big lead and then I think they were up by 14 at one point, but it's not one of those where you were up by 20 or 30 and then, you collapsed and let the Knicks back in. No. The Knicks, really, for the first time this series, in my humble opinion, outplayed the Celtics last night. And that's all that was,
I was more so thinking about the entire series because we still got possibly, 3 more game spot maximum?
Yeah. It would be 3 more. So they're up 3-1. So it would have to be 3 more. Yeah.
So I was thinking that in terms of, and it is a valid excuse if we do win the series. You don't think the Celtics could have possibly win 3 more games if Tatum was there?
Yeah. But what I'm saying is I don't see it as being a valid excuse because I'm like, injuries are a part of the game and the Celtics still have to go next man up. And they have built one of the best and most complete rosters in the NBA. So, no, it's not going to be a valid excuse. And, if the Celtics lose, I'm going to hit you like, damn, hey, go get it, bro. You know what I'm saying? Now go get it for New York and go get it for the Eastern Conference, right? I'm not that guy. If they lose, they have no one to blame but themselves for giving away the first 2 games at home, right? That's how I see it.
Did you discuss how Kobe was able to shoot 2 free throws after he tore his Achilles?
I did. I talked about that. And the crazy part is I had mentioned going to look up, if you're watching this, go look up former Laker trainer Gary Vitti and what he said about Kobe when his Achilles popped. So I'll go ahead and tell the story. I wasn't going to, but I'll tell the story real quick. So he says Kobe told him that when the Achilles popped, he said he reached down and tried to pull the Achilles back up. Yeah. And Gary Vitti's like, it doesn't work that way. So he's like, well, can you take me in the back and take me up and I'll be able to play the rest of the game? He's like, Kobe, it doesn't work that way. And Kobe is trying desperately every possible thing to be able to finish the game out because, he was that type of dude. He's like, look, I'll let you shoot the free throws, and then that's it. So that's why we saw Kobe walk to the line, shoot the 2 free throws, and then, walk off. And now we've seen Kyrie Irving do that as well. But I think how injuries happen to different players obviously affects the pain level, and different people have different pain tolerance. Like we saw, Kobe injured, and then he played the entire game shooting with his left hand. It's freaking crazy. Built different. And I'm going to ignore Bruce because I know what he's trying to do.
Cutting off pinkies and all of that.
Yeah, Roddy Lott's a wild dude. But that football mentality is a totally different thing as well. You know what I'm saying? So, all right, what's going on, Woodage? No, Tatum didn't hurt himself on a 3. He was going for the ball, and it was just a non-contact injury. He just popped up. He appears to have popped his Achilles. Yeah, man, people have different pain thresholds. We saw when, towards the end, the later part of Larry Bird's career, he had to play, he was trying to play with bone spurs in his heels. He played and his back was so messed up. He used to be in traction before and after games. Kevin McHale played an entire playoff run with a broken foot to the point that he was never the same again after that. Like, so different people have different pain tolerance, and also injuries happen differently, and, there's different severities. So,
and some people have, don't have the education too, because I'm pretty sure a lot of those dudes knew what they were facing. They might have had a different choice.
What they were facing in terms of what?
Like if Kevin McHale knew, like, this may destroy you the rest of your career, you be able to play at that level, maybe he would have chosen, sports science and the technology a little different back then, and it gets better for each year. But some people wouldn't have cared anyway. But you just never know.
That's what I was about to say. I think we know that the athlete mindset was different back then, right? And also the money was nowhere near what it is now, right? So now you could be like, man, F that. I'm gonna take my time. I'm gonna recover, hundreds of mils or whatever. Back then it wasn't like that. So
right, you used to hide injuries. And also, I love Walt Clyde Frazier's story. He said, we didn't have the trainers and the sports science we have now. So he said, we were really hurt when another guy next to you was like, I have that same injury. And, like that's how you would go by it, by going by the next person's, how he couldn't walk, how he would limp, or he would grab something. And then you for that, like, wait a minute, you had that injury last year and you could barely run now. Maybe I should chill out. So that was old timers' way of figuring out injuries is just crazy.
That is crazy, man. But yeah, so it looks very bad for Tatum. I just looked it up to see if there's any update. So let's see. It looks like. What's up, Nino? What's going on? No, it appears there won't be a repeat this year, but we'll see. Hey, never underestimate the heart of a champion.
You never know. Like you said, they still have a very good roster, and the Knicks are very suspect, regardless of what we're seeing right now. So that's possible.
Yeah, they can be. I'm trying to see if I can find an update. Okay, wow. Why is it taking so long? Wait, what's today? Today's Tuesday, right?
Today is
today's Tuesday. Okay. So he's supposed to have an MRI today. So we don't I don't know if he's gonna get it back in Boston or if he's gonna get it right there in New York. But yeah, he's supposed to have an MRI today. So we'll find out. Hopefully we'll find out soon, man.
It's just so crazy. We're talking about 3-peat, and I was talking about next season will they make the playoffs. I still think they the way we do with the planes and stuff, I still think the Celtics got to start next year even without Tatum. We don't know. This is way too early to talk about this, but maybe 6th seed, 7th seed, 8th seed. I can still see them doing that because they have a very good. But we're gonna see.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna see.
That's why we love to watch sports. So you just never know in any given.
Never know
what's gonna happen.
Facts.
I see this coming at all. I was just like,
Woodage, the Celtics haven't repeated since the Russell days. That is true. But yes, somehow they still have more championships than anybody. Just something to think about. Anyway, let's go ahead and open up the phone lines. We'll take a couple of calls real quick. And then we'll get to the last topic and just discuss that a little bit. 904-219-8264. 904-219-8264. Let's take a couple calls here. What we got? KD bounced back better than anyone I recall from the Achilles. Hope JT has similar results. That's a good point. I think the benefit is Tatum is like really young. What is he, 27? He's like 26 or 27. So I don't even think he's that. He might not have even reached his athletic prime yet. So, when you're that young, you can bounce back from injuries really well. You providing you're on top of your rehab. So if he's got, excuse me, if he's got that, he'd be in good shape. I think he's like 27. Let's see, roster.
I wonder what percentage of players get these injuries now.
That's a good question. Oh, so let me ask you this. I was talking to my other homeboy about this earlier. Tatum is 27, so he's still young. He's just entering his physical peak. So I was talking to my other homeboy about this earlier. This is an interesting thought, right? And let's say it's an Achilles, right? And I wonder if anyone has done a study correlating so many players wearing low top sneakers now and getting Achilles and ankle injuries. I'm kind of curious because when we were coming up, everything was high tops when you balling, and I can't imagine like
how your shoe tight as possible.
Yeah, and so I'm wondering like when did it become cool? Like obviously I don't hoop anymore, but I'm wondering when did it become a thing like to wear low tops, and how is that better for you in terms of like protecting you, especially now when they're lying to us and telling us about how the players today have such better handles and better lateral movement and all this. So that technically would put the players' lower extremities at more of a disadvantage. And so when you're in that situation, it's like, okay, cool. Why would you not wear high top sneakers? I really don't get it. Some thoughts on that in the chat, or if you want to call in. I don't get it. You got all this technology. Why can't we get higher? Why are we not wearing high tops more? And why are we not, really looking into that? But I am curious to know if any study has been done to find out if there's a correlation between low top sneakers and Achilles injuries and ankle injuries.
I remember we used to tape up our ankles, even going even beyond the high tops.
Mm-hmm. Right, because you're trying to, absolutely. You can tape it up because you're trying to provide all the support possible. So you tape it up, then you put it in the high tops, So I don't know.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. Wouldn't go lower than mids. Like, remember we used to see Rasheed Wallace in the
Oh yeah.
Yeah, right, in the high top Air Force Ones. So I'm like, I don't know.
I think Kobe definitely helped push this low top stuff because he was
definitely.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, I don't really get it. All right, no calls on this. Okay. So we will go to the final topic. I appreciate you all being here. By the way, if you haven't hit that like and subscribe, man, y'all know what it is.
One last item.
Yeah.
Could you see them trying to move them for Giannis?
Move.
If the Bucks think they're gonna lose Giannis for nothing, would it be good to get into Giannis and continue that Celtics?
Man, you got to wonder what it would take. And again, the whole thing is, if you're these new owners, you're trying to reassemble the team to save money, right? Giannis is a supermax dude. So I think he's like in the middle of a supermax contract right now. So let's say you trade for Giannis. You got another year or two, then he's up for a new supermax. You're going to have to pay him. And by the time he's up, that supermax is probably going to be up around, what, 330 or so? I think Tatum just got 315. He's the highest paid player ever.
Towards the 400s, definitely.
Right. So it wouldn't, if cutting payroll is your goal as the new owner of the Celtics, getting in the Giannis sweepstakes wouldn't make a lot of sense to me.
Right.
I
was thinking about that because we're about to switch to the draft lottery thing.
Right.
That's one of the bigger topics.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely Giannis. All right. Well, as you brought that up, let's do it, man. Let's do it. We're going to go to the final topic, and we are going to talk about the draft lottery, which happened last night. And the Dallas Mavericks somehow managed to get the number 1 overall pick. and most people believe that's going to be Cooper Flagg. I know Bruce probably believes it should be his man Queen, Derek Queen out of Baltimore, but most people have that as Cooper Flagg. And so I think it would be a very interesting lineup to say Cooper Flagg, AD, and Kyrie, a healthy Kyrie. I think that would be kind of wild. Two really good front court guys, a great backcourt guy, and they all complement each other because they all can play in different ways in different places on the floor. So nobody's getting in anybody's way. I kind of like it. We heard, if you listen to, I think, Get Up this morning, Jay Will on ESPN said that he would try to trade the pick. And I was like, what? Trade the pick? I guess you get a haul or maybe try to get a Giannis. And I'm like, well, why would you want a Giannis when you have an AD? Like, that doesn't really add up to me, but okay. And then also, the problem with Giannis is he's an atypical big in that, like a lot of these modern bigs, he has to have the ball in his hands a lot, which I really don't like. If you have a true point guard and a guy like Kyrie, you don't need the ball in your hands. But Giannis, I don't know how well he can play without it. So that's the other problem. But we'll get to that. But first, your thoughts on the Mavs in this draft lottery and the fact that, obviously they made this mega trade, send Luka to Los Angeles, and everybody's going crazy. Everybody's all over Nico, and somehow miraculously they end up with the number 1 overall pick. Man, what are you thinking there? Because we're hearing a lot of rumors.
As a Knicks fan, we heard about the frozen ticket.
Patrick Ewing.
So that's one thing that popped in my head once I saw that Luka. And I'm thinking in my head, behind the scenes, you give up Luka, don't worry, we'll take care of you on the back end.
Right.
Miraculously, here comes Cooper. And
right.
Also, the Cavs were losing LeBron. That was also another conspiracy out there.
Well, LeBron said it. He said that they pretty much fixed it so he could be in Cleveland. He said that on his show. So,
wow.
No, I think he said it on Pat McAfee. Yeah. So I'm like, why would he? Yeah, like, keep your mouth shut, man.
I can't believe he admitted to that.
I don't know why you would.
Oh.
Like, what is the benefit of you putting that out there publicly? I really don't get that.
And nobody even batted it out. Wow.
D Rose in Chicago, I think he mentioned that too. And then, of course, like you said, Patrick Ewing with the frozen envelope.
Right. I like your starting 5 though. I think that's definitely a contender because they pretty much similarly built in a way to the Celtics where everybody, not everybody, but it's a balanced lineup between defense and offense, and they pretty much cover up for everybody's weak point. And Cooper's a dog. I think we got to see how he adjusts to the next level, but I think he'll definitely be a go-to player.
Yeah.
But I could also see Dallas getting greedy and wanting to go all out for Giannis.
So what some of the stuff I've been hearing, not hearing personally, but just listening to sports media and stuff, is that with the way this played out, it opens up the door for Giannis to end up in San Antonio, which I think could be very interesting because Wemby, he's a big who doesn't play offensively like a big, right? He likes to be out there shooting threes and long J's and all that. So again, that's not a situation where he and Giannis get in each other's way. And then you got Castle, but if I'm Milwaukee and I got to give you Giannis, there's no way you're keeping Castle in the deal. Like, nah, I want, you know what I'm saying? I'm not letting you have him. But still, Giannis and Wemby, it's a real good building block.
Definitely is. But I think it just accelerates everything and then it puts pressure on Wemby that, I don't know, I like to see teams organically grow together, like the Warriors, like Chicago Bulls, like San Antonio Spurs. Like, I like that because it sets up longevity. I feel like when you start to throw teams together like that, I mean, sometimes it works out for you like a Boston or Miami, like a little quick, little flame, but sometimes it doesn't work out. Like the Brooklyn Nets when they try to add the Paul Pierces and the Kevin Durant. Those are everybody at the end of their career. So
right.
But I'd rather see the Spurs just grow organically. I'll try to grab another Duke player that they're big from Sudan.
Yeah.
I like his game, and I think like you said, like he's not your typical center. So, but he's a center. He's a true center. So you add it. He's 19 years old. So now they grow together. And now, your salary cap is not all messed up. And, you got Castle and you got the 14th pick as well. So now you can also add another young player But
Mm-hmm.
after they made the Fox trade last year, I think they're trying to win now. So
I forgot about that.
look out for Greek Freak to go there. No stake tax. He's gonna, like you said, he's up for another supermax. So,
Mm-hmm.
and they'll probably ask for Castle. But if I'm the Bucks, and I've been thinking about this, whatever
Mm-hmm.
it take on Dame's crazy contract, I'm trying to say, hey, if you want
Trying to
three,
unload that.
you got to take Dame. You got to take Dame with you because I
Yeah,
got him. And if he's no longer here, go play with your buddy because I'm not going to try to have somebody here that's out for all the next year or having injury problems.
that's right.
Take Dame with you.
Yeah, I forgot that he tore his Achilles as well. Yeah, that's tough. But let's I don't think I've actually talked to you about Cooper Flagg. So let's talk about him for a minute. I'm gonna play some of his B-roll, and I want to know what you think. I know you love watching the college guys and the high school guys and how they develop and what you think they'll project to be on the next level, man. Where are you on Cooper Flagg? I like him a lot.
Well, when I first was talking to you about him, I did like the comparisons in terms of Berg, in terms of mentality,
Mm-hmm.
backing down. Like a lot of, I feel like he thinks like Berg too. Like putting a player of a different race on him definitely made him. And I think he really excels in the big moments, even though he missed a few big shots.
Okay.
But I like him. He's a two-way player. I think somebody said
Yeah.
AK-47 the other day. I could see AK-47 version because I feel like he has like a little bit more flavor with him. But I definitely see the two-way aspect of that and the ability to have a high motor. And he's just not a fearful player. And he played with Queen. I don't know if you noticed in high school. So
Yeah.
saying, well, maybe
On Verde, I believe.
So he was the go-to guy. They actually have 3 players in this draft from his high school team.
Mm.
I think they have 4 players. Yeah, they have 4. This is wild. They all might go in the lottery.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, and that coach just left and went to Spears High School, just to get a little bit off topic. After doing a great run over there in Florida, but a typical Duke guy. You love to hate these kind of dudes, cut from the Leitner and the JJ Redick cloth, the Bobby Hurley and Wojciechowski.
Mm-hmm.
Fire, knows how to play the game. From Maine. So, you don't get a lot of players from Maine, but
No, you don't.
he's a bowler. He's been killing for a while now, like since 14, 15. So he's definitely not new to this.
Right.
I think
They said he played really well in the for the select team when he played against the Olympic team.
Oh yeah. I heard about that. He's ready.
Mm-hmm.
Because if anything, once you're a two-way player, if anything, if your jump shot's not going, your offense is off, he's always going to be able to grab rebounds and block shots and still play defense. So he's going to make it back regardless any way he goes. But I wouldn't be shocked if Dallas, the 76ers, or the Spurs, if none of those teams won him, I wouldn't be shocked because we're in like this win now era.
Yeah.
None of those teams take him. I was hoping Utah would have got him. I was like, yo, Utah, he definitely fits the climate over there. So I was like, I know he's a lock for Utah.
Well, it's funny because I think Trader Danny, he tried to unload everything to get Utah in a position to win this draft lottery to get Cooper Flagg, but it didn't work out. But knowing him, he'll pull off something. Although I'm starting to get the feeling like a lot of teams don't want to work with Danny Ainge because
he burned a lot of bridges and he's putting a lot of shame. He's destroying teams.
I mean, he will fleece you if he can.
What's that? The big man shooter they got from Finland.
Lauri Markkanen.
Yeah, I mean, maybe he dangles him out there. I don't know if that's gonna be enough. Maybe that was a couple of picks.
Yeah, Markkanen is nice though. He's nice.
Yeah, I mean, if you're in win now mode, Lauri Markkanen makes a lot of sense on your roster.
But my thing is, if I'm in win now mode, I'm trying to keep Lauri Markkanen and bring another star, right?
No, I'm not saying the Jazz. I'm saying if you're, let's just say,
I got you.
Spurs. Now you got Lauri Markkanen and Wemby, or if you're the 76ers, now you got Lauri Markkanen and Joel.
Right. Okay, I got you.
I mean, it all sounds good on paper.
Of course.
If you're Dallas, I mean, Lauri Markkanen doesn't really fit there. So, I mean, that's not. So maybe they trade him and get some more assets from another team in a 3-way. It's going to be interesting. I think Dallas keeps him. Because I can see him being a small forward, and they need a small forward.
Mm-hmm.
It fits, and it solves your short-term goals and your long-term goals.
No doubt. So, Bruce, you say the good old boy network strikes again. So, when we talk offline, you always tell me about the evidence and the facts. So I'm curious to know, what is your evidence or your facts for this good old boy network strikes again? What do you mean by that? I would love to hear your thoughts on that. Go ahead and fill us in. Yeah, no, I do like. I don't trade the pick. I like the idea of Cooper Flagg being there with AD and Kyrie. I think it's good, and plus, it'll also help freaking Nico, because these Dallas fans, man, they didn't want to give him an easy time at all after he
I'm not
traded.
gonna lie, I didn't think he was gonna make it. I thought they was definitely gonna let him go as soon as the season was over. I was like, they're gonna. I really think that was the owner call. I think that was some owner.
It was.
And then he just letting Nico to take the hits. Like he was.
Yeah.
He's literally using him as a shield. Like, yo.
To me, that's crazy, right? You make this call, but you got to let this dude stand there and take that. Like, come on, man. Yeah, I would like to think that if I was the owner and I see the vitriol that this dude is facing, I'm calling a press conference and I'm saying, listen, this was my call. He made the call. He did the job that I told him to do as a general manager. This was my call. I would, as an owner and a leader, who's going to say something to you? You're a multi-billionaire. Stand up there and be real with it, You
did hear what the owner said, though, about Luka, though. He said his family was, like, part owner of the Bulls. And he was saying that, yeah, if you look it up, like, they somehow were involved with the Bulls back in the days. So he said, I know what true championship teams and the true captain of a championship team look like. And that's not, yeah, you can look. I'm trying to find that, send it to you. So I was like,
I like that, though.
They step up to the plate a little bit with that one. I was like, whoa.
All right, Bruce, here you go again. So Bruce says this was nothing but a power play by the Billionaire Boys Club, who basically rigged the lottery. So cool. I'm glad you feel that way. Now, dude, I'm telling you what you tell me. Where's the evidence? Where's the facts? I want to know. Come on, give me something. You're making assumptions here, right?
You love facts, and you got to see it in black and white. But I know you feel a little bit like this is kind of like, wait a minute.
Oh, listen, I definitely think it's funny style. But the reason I'm pushing Bruce on this specifically is because when I send him anything he doesn't like about LeBron, he'll say very quickly, where's the evidence? Where's the facts? They just making stuff up. So I'm just responding to him in the same fashion. You know what I mean? But yes, to me, it definitely looks funny style. So yeah, I agree wholeheartedly.
Did you see Cooper's wingspan?
It's 7 foot.
Yeah, that's pretty.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, he's got athleticism to play defense. Like, he's not slow of foot, and he appears to want to do it. And then, like, you watch him on the break, like, this dude is taking off from the dotted and booming on people. Yeah. I'm like, okay, all right.
No, he's definitely, I don't know if he's going to have the same impact as Bird, but he's definitely going to impact.
Would you stop that? Don't stop. Don't do that.
They call him Ant-Man Jordan over here, but we can't call him the next Bird.
That's also absurd. No, we can't call him the next Bird. No. He's not Bird. Ant-Man is not Jordan or Kobe, man. It's nonsense. We got to stop this, man. Just let dudes be who they're going to be. And, yeah, we got it.
Listen, Jordan went through it, too, with Dr. J. I remember always hearing that. He plays.
Yeah, but he far surpassed him, though. That's the crazy part.
Right, so we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know.
How many years we've been looking for another Bird? What, 30 plus years now? Bird retired in 92.
They started tight ends. They want tight ends for the Chiefs. They didn't want to play basketball no more.
Yeah, listen, they've been waiting for a Bird for a long time. They'll never get one.
Definitely have.
They'll never get one.
Who else caught my eye in the lottery? Who dropped? I know Jazz dropped. I was hoping the Hornets would have got something. The Hornets is just desperate for. They need something good to happen with that franchise, but I don't think they're not picking high enough to make an impact. They got fourth or fifth, sixth pick, something like that. I gotta look at the.
And they gave LaMelo all that money, and that's a waste. Great for him, he got his money, but that's a waste. They'll never win anything with him as their best player.
If that was a failed experiment. I'm gonna try to move him while I still can.
Who's paying that money for him? Would you? I wouldn't. As an owner.
He sells tickets. He sells jerseys, though. So some owners. So, like, let's take a team like the Orlando Magic, who I think is maybe a point guard away from being, like a top 8-ish kind of team. Knocking on the door of the Eastern Conference Finals. You might try to pull the trigger on a ball trade. See what happens.
Mm-hmm. Well, I wouldn't do it. I would not do it. No way, nah. No, I think LaMelo is all sizzle, no steak, and I'm not paying that kind of money for that dude. Was he making $230 right now?
I know he's over 200, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, he's got a huge deal. Nah, not gonna be able to do it. Nope.
He's
But
only making
great
money
for him that he got paid,
and especially the fact that if he does go to a playoff contending team, his legacy is only going to build. He's only going to become a more popular player in the NBA. So something to keep an eye on. I think he's going to get moved this year.
I don't even know if he has the right mentality to be on a playoff contending team if he's not the main guy. I think he has to be that, and if he's not that, it's not going to go well, and it's going to cause locker room problems. That's what I think. Again, I don't have anything behind that, but just based on the way we watch this dude play, huh?
We saw this a couple of times with a couple of players, and sometimes they do shape up, and sometimes they got to ship out. Like I remember Melo and Iverson. I was like, this is not going to work. What were they thinking? And they really. And then what they do? They brought in Chauncey, right?
Chauncey, and that worked. They went to the Western Conference Finals.
It's just funny how things happen, but so
yeah, no doubt. All right, so all right, I'll open up the phone lines one last time and give an opportunity to take a couple calls real quick. If not, we'll get up out of here. This might be the quickest 4-topic show I've ever done. Oh man. Yeah, so you go ahead, call in 904-219-8264, 904-219-8264, and we can discuss a little bit. And take that off, man. Nah, I tell you what. Oh, I probably didn't even tell you this when we were talking about that topic earlier. I'll say this, Kyle, real talk. I believe the Knicks win this series and beat the champs. I think they go into the finals, man. Now, what happens when they get there, I don't know. It depends on who comes out the West, but I think they can get to the finals if they win this series.
I mean, if they could beat the Celtics, you could beat anybody. That's how I feel.
That's a fact. Now, we know that styles make fights, right? Matchups and all that, but no, I totally agree with you that if you could beat the champs.
Well, with the Celtics, so I don't know. I'm still, like I said, I'm still with Shot. Still.
Yeah, no, absolutely, man. And I am, believe me, I'm with you. But listen, obviously, I've been a C's fan a long time, but would it be amazing for basketball to see the Knicks win a championship? Of course.
That's a good look. You might have come back home, man. Just I mean, I'll protect you if you want to throw on your bird jersey. Looking like do the right thing.
Yeah, you're a funny dude, man. You're a funny dude. But no, in all seriousness, man, if
think about the dude walking up the steps and
yeah. But nah, if the Knicks were to win a championship, like it would probably be the biggest story in sports.
Definitely.
Yeah.
You already see the crowd building. Every series is getting bigger and building. I mean, so we definitely something special. But we just openly.
Now, here's the other thing, right? If the Knicks win a title, and we know how huge that is. Obviously, New York City, right? What is it? 53 years, right? 53 years now. 73. 52 years. 52 years. So you got that. But what I'm also thinking about, and this is something I've always said, why it always discouraged me that the big name dudes didn't want to go to New York. I think so many of them are cowards, because if you're the guy that goes to New York and delivers a chip there, you're a made man globally forever.
Forever.
Right.
You could even look throughout the sports industry. People that won rings in football, baseball, they have jobs. I'm like, yo, this guy was like a relief pitcher for the Yankees. He has a job for life right now. So yeah, Jalen Brunson's gonna be a god.
And that's what I was about to say. If he can get that job done, they will. And I'm not saying it's the case. They'll say he's the greatest Knick ever if he gets that job done.
Yeah, they'll definitely overrate him and say he's the greatest Knick ever.
That's right.
In my opinion, once you start talking about that, but.
Yeah. No, and I wasn't trying to, take the discussion there and turn that into that debate, but it'll be said. But it will be monstrous if the Knicks win it. Man, that is.
And we're winning a blue collar type player, like the underdog. He's undersized,
Great point.
and the way he plays is very North Coast like East Coast kind of blue collar, big body Brunson. He's
He's a
banging.
Jersey kid though,
Right.
so
He's not
grew up
doing.
in Jersey.
He's not really an aerial attack kind of
No.
player, 3-point shooter. Even though he can't,
Mhm.
he's really more of a strategic, heady player that's takes charges every now and then, and
Mhm.
we love
Get
him.
these
Like,
shots.
we're very happy. Like nobody saw this coming. People
Nah.
like nobody.
Mhm.
Even during the signing, I was like, "Oh, Jalen Brunson." I'm like, he's just okay, I guess. I mean, he had
Right.
series in the playoffs. Maybe he could
Mhm.
be 1 or 2-time All-Star. I was hoping during a 5 to 7 year career. But
Mhm.
I see somebody that is all NBA first team possibly.
Let me ask you this before we get out of here. Do you think what we're seeing from Jalen Brunson is that an indictment on Luka
No,
and his inability of? Because to me, I'm thinking now, like, are we starting to see like, similar to a younger LeBron but less athletic? Luka can only play one way, and that actually does not help teammates.
no. I mean, they just went to the finals last year, and so we don't even know what could have been. And Kyrie's also another ball dominant player, so it's not like I don't think that's a diamond on Luka. I gotta still see more from Luka before I say that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And also, I
Well,
think we gotta wait for LeBron to leave so Luka can kind of get more people that play. I guess this is going towards your point. If you got to build around them, but I think most great players you do have to build around them.
so yeah, but it's like, again, the Luka ball is like the hero ball. It's kind of like the Jokic ball, but not quite. But like, he's got to have the ball. He's got to make all the decisions. Guys pretty much like standing around waiting for, the result of whatever he's doing. So his style of play keeps teammates from getting into offensive rhythm unless they're just that elite level offensive player like a Kyrie, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if it's not, pick and pop or, pick and roll for the lob to the rim or, catch a kick out with 3 seconds left on the shot clock, right? Now, for his era, is Luka an all-time great player? Yes. Has he done his thing? Yes. But you got to look at it. Again, only plays one side of the floor, has issues with being in shape and conditioning, as we know, and can only play one way, that Super Bowl dominant style. That's all that stuff is iffy to me, man.
So the Knicks was just doing this up until last game with Jalen Brunson, to be real. He was playing the same caliber of basketball. He was literally watching
Think so?
tape. Oh, yes, 1-on-3, 1-on-4. Even against Detroit, it was pissing me off. That's how I was like, there's no way we're going to beat the Celtics because they actually got Drew Holiday waiting for you. And
Mm-hmm.
finally, last night, we saw him actually running plays for different people. And I'm like, it's about time. And you saw it in a scoreboard. Like, Celtics are even shocked. Like, what Cat was on the block against people way shorter than him, and they'll kick it back to Brunson looking scared, out of rhythm. So, like I said, to your point, there's a lot of people that play that style of basketball. Harden, Luka, Joker, Westbrook was playing that. Derrick Rose at one time was playing that. There's a lot of people. I really
But
think
Joker's the only one that's been able to win playing that way, though.
you don't think that style originated from Jordan, though?
Nah, I don't.
I know they had the triangle offense, but when you
Right.
got into the last 2 or 3 minutes, it was kind of a four corners effect. You kind of knew where the ball was going, and if Jordan got double, he might kick it, but normally it was him taking that, forcing up shots.
But the difference was, though, that you could assume that it was going to be Jordan because it was Jordan, right? But the triangle offense actually, because he was willing to play within a system, allowed for at least the image that it could be somebody else, right? And it allowed for the situation of he could decide if he wanted to make it someone else, a la Paxson, a la Kerr, right? And so at least he was willing to play within the system, right? With Luka, Jokic, LeBron, these guys, there is no system. It's just them with the ball deciding everything. You see what I'm saying? So I
Right.
think that's the
So I
difference
think it's
between
more of an
Jordan.
NBA issue than an individual player issue because you can go on and on with the names of people, and it's a growing thing. Dame kind of plays the same way. It's like a growing list of players.
Mm, that's fair. That's fair.
LaMelo Ball, like you just said, you tired of him watching him playing that kind of style. So you can go on and name 10 to 15 players that play this style of ball where people just stand around and watch these guys. The only time they're going to pass is if they get triple team. And that's why a lot of
Right.
people weren't weren't watching the NBA. But I think this is finally, this year we saw a little bit more of the ball movement. Celtics, Mavs, Oklahoma City.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen like a couple of players get little touches. T-Wolves, you think they pass the ball around the perimeter?
I think they passed the ball a fair amount, yeah, because obviously we know the type of offensive gravity that Ant Edwards creates, right? And so teams are going to, at least to some extent, they're going to rotate to him. They're going to try to keep from, getting boomed on, right? And so the T-Wolves are doing a good job in moving the ball and getting shots because really they don't have another guy. And I'm surprised that, how well they're able to play offensively, although I would like to see them make more of a concerted effort to get Gobert some more touches inside, especially in this weak big man era. He should be able to dominate, but
right,
teams don't believe in playing that way.
Is jacking up. He's jacking up too. Is this the era we're in? And like I said, I believe it started from MJ, and then I think Allen Iverson and Kobe kind of just took it to another.
But Kobe also played in the triangle. Allen Iverson, okay, cool, I give you that. But Kobe also played in the triangle.
We both saw Jordan and Kobe take the clipboard from Phil. We both saw this with our own eyes.
Right.
I'm gonna be right here.
They will at least let Phil draw up the play. Then when they get out there on the floor after the timeout, they're like, "Yo, we're not doing that. Give me the ball."
So, as soon as that Tatum news comes down, definitely hit me. It'll be rough.
Yeah, but
one last thing on the draft lottery, they were talking about expanding it to other sports. What do you think about that? To stop the tanking in the football and baseball.
So football is a lot harder to tank, right? Because you got 53 guys on the roster, and guys are really trying to keep their jobs, and you're trying to. Because football is so transitive, if you're not a star, you're always trying to put good tape out there. So it's really hard to make guys tank in football. So I'm less concerned about that. I don't really follow baseball, but
sometimes see like a weird quarterback starting for teams. Sometimes like, wait, why is this guy starting the 5th round pick with no You don't think people do that?
I'm not saying they don't. I'm saying it's a lot harder to tank effectively in football because the mentality is different. And guys are trying to have jobs, man. But what I will say though, on the basketball side, and I'm gonna give shout out Mike Greenberg here. I heard him say this years ago, and I kind of like it. The easy way to fix tanking is you say, yo, the first team out of the playoffs, that's the team that gets the number 1 pick. That makes every team play hard all the way through to try to make it. And that's how you increase competition. And you fix tanking. That's my thought.
Got you. Makes sense.
Yeah, that's what I would do. But we're gonna go ahead and leave it right here, man. I don't think we're gonna get any calls on this. But yo, Kai, I appreciate you coming through, man.
Yeah, no doubt.
Man, what's up with you? All right, man?
You good? Man. Come back home, Bruce. It's never too late to switch and come back home.
Man, I've been a Celtics fan since I was in grade school, man. That could never happen, man.
Yes, you reminded me of this since we met each other. Was that
That's
20, 30 years ago?
Yeah, a long time ago, 25 years ago, yeah. But yo, man, appreciate you coming on and talking with us, man. We gotta do this.
Definitely invite me back when y'all gonna do that hip hop episode. Definitely.
We're gonna do that, man. That's gonna be crazy. That's gonna be crazy. I'm trying to figure out how to do it without the fact that because we're not gonna be able to play music to like really, because of copyright stuff. We might need to set up a Patreon just so we can do that episode. That way we can actually play music and whatnot.
Definitely, we gotta look into it.
Yeah. But all right, brother. It's good talking to you, man. All right, y'all. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Oh man, no more Knicks fans on this channel, man. All right, bro. Hit the like and subscribe button, and we'll be back with you next time. Appreciate all y'all tuning in. We out. Peace.